I just watched NASA open the high bay doors of the Vehicle Assembly Building as its 32-story moon rocket rolls back from the launch pad for repairs. I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent, James Sparvero. Just a few weeks ago, NASA said it was possible for the Artemis II mission around the moon to launch as soon as this month, but more technical challenges have kept the Space Launch System and its first astronauts on the ground. Of course, longtime CBS space expert Bill Harwood is here watching the rollback. So Bill, now NASA tells us the earliest Artemis II might launch is April, and that's really a best case scenario, right? If there's a quick fix to the problems?
Yeah, they really don't know yet exactly what went wrong that they discovered after their fueling test with this helium pressurization system. They don't have access at the launch pad. That's why they had to roll it back to the VAB. But once they get access, they'll hopefully find out what's wrong and fix it. At this point, though, we don't know how long that's going to take. But I think making April 1st, which is the opening of the window, is going to be pretty tight.
It's going to be pretty tight. Artemis I, we saw multiple rollbacks before they were ready to launch.
Yeah, it took them months on Artemis I to finally get to where they were ready to fly. This one's hard to predict. You know, I didn't expect these kinds of problems given the time they've had with the rocket and the troubleshooting from the last flight. But it just turns out this is a pretty complicated vehicle, and they're still learning.
As the rocket inches closer, we'll hear what NASA learns next in preparation for the mission at a new press conference after rollback. At the first two, I asked the mission managers about delays.
How's the pressure feel amongst yourselves to finally fly the crew, get them around the moon?
We put that pressure on ourselves to be successful, but we don't feel any schedule pressure on this particular subject.
The White House has said it wants to land on the moon, beating the Chinese space program there in just a couple years. This really is so important if America is going to get their boots on the moon before China, of course, right?
You know, NASA really does couch this as a race against China, sort of a new space race, if you will. It's not just the SLS rocket, it's SpaceX's ability to perfect the lander they're going to use to send astronauts down to the moon. You know, they've got to get that going, and they've got to launch it repeatedly and often to work the bugs out of that.
And we'll update you about that new press conference as soon as it's scheduled. In Brevard County, I'm your Cape Canaveral community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.